Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the ongoing video installment of How I. Today, we're going to talk about how I overcame suicidal depression. And before I get into this, I would like to caveat it with these are my personal experiences, my personal lived experiences. I am not a doctor, I am a doctor of love. But that's it. I'm a technician, but I'm not a doctor of love. I'm actually not a doctor of love either. But anyway, my personal lived experiences. So, how I overcame suicidal depression. In retrospect, I feel like being a Scorpio, being a water sign in a house at the time that was full of fire signs, and specifically living with my dad, who is a Leo, my biological dad, who legitimately had mental issues and ultimately was hospitalized with a schizoaffective break with reality. Um, I think mental health issues in general have plagued my biological family. So it's not uncommon to hear that somebody in my biological family has some mental health issues. With that as kind of a window dressing, we can go a little bit deeper. That I was drinking from a pretty young age. I was doing drugs and listening to the type of music that a pissed off teenager would. I had not met my adopted parents at this point in my life. And I got to a point where I had a friend at the time who was kind of encouraging a lot of self-destructive behavior. We were codependent, I guess you could say, and encouraging each other in pretty self-destructive behavior. Court ordered to stay away from each other, actually, which didn't help. That's an unrelated story. But anyway, I got to the point where, again, after drinking and making a few decisions while I was inebriated, I decided, I don't really want to live anymore. And we wrote a suicide letter and took 7 handfuls of pills and wound up. Uh, there's some parts I'm leaving out, but the short of it is we wound up in a hospital, and then I wound up in a psychiatric facility, in a hospital for 2 weeks. And eventually I was discharged. I went home, and I took a less enthusiastic attempt on my life again a couple of years later. And then after the last one at 18 years old, there was a point in my 20s uh, where I had considered it again. So it wasn't like I tried once, and it wasn't like the suicidal depression came and went in one fleeting moment. It was the last time that I seriously thought about ending my own life was in my 20s. And some people who know me don't even know that, but I don't have many close friends in my personal life, and I have a lot more acquaintances than I do close friends, and that's another issue. But how I overcame that, honestly speaking, and from my own personal perspective, was a perception shift from the immediate need of self satisfaction and the immediate need to have a better life, I shift that perception from that place over here to where I'm at now, which is um, accepting that you're going to live a long life, and that at the end of a long life, 10 out of 10 people statistically die. So there's no rush. So instead of selfishly wanting off the ride immediately while the ride is in progress, understand that all these rides end. And so it's better, for the sake of the duration of the ride, to have the most enjoyable ride possible. So you could look at my life and say, well, this guy is clearly still depressed. Then, if he's saying that, he's just prolonging the inevitable. But as a 41-year-old man, I am not a depressed person. I don't take any medications. And my outlook, although I'm being honest with you guys, might shock you. My outlook is that 10 out of 10 people die. We're all going to die. And when I was younger, I felt like it was important that I died immediately. And I don't think like that anymore. I think that I'm going to live a long life. I'm going to live as healthy and as happy as possible. In fact, I'm a vegan in a vegan family. And I prioritize my health, and I prioritize my mental health now, because I know how self-destructive some mental health issues can be. I know that firsthand. So in my case, how I overcame suicidal depression was a massive perception shift, which was helped probably by a heroic dose of psilocybin, but that was later in my late 20s. But before the psilocybin, before all that, was meditation, a daily meditation practice, which I started in my 20s. And before that, it was trying to learn more about God. But I had a perception shift, basically. And the short of it was, I don't think it was one definable moment. I don't think it was one definable moment, but I can tell you some pretty low lows where I was considering drowning myself in a lake, and I had some people walk by and give me compliments as I was contemplating. I was playing guitar and thinking I was playing guitar and contemplating jumping off these rocks and drowning myself. And I had some people come by and compliment me and be like, "Wow, your music is really good. It's a really great song." And this bipolarity of like people not seeing what's going on the inside, and me playing music but simultaneously thinking about, ending my own life. I don't know. That might have been a moment for me that was just so comical and so ridiculous that it might have helped me change my perception. I've had a few moments like that in my life where things are so great and they're so terrible and horrible at the exact same time that it kind of like forces you to either like take a step back and laugh at the situation, or like have a psychological meltdown. I've done both. But in this case, in my 20s, I took a step back and I laughed, and I was like, these people have no idea. So I'm being honest. I'm not in a dark place. I'm not in a suicidal depression anymore. I haven't been depressed since I was in my 20s. I haven't thought like that since I was in my 20s. And full disclosure is, I'm a vegan and I meditate daily, and I love my family. I love my kids, and I instead have now focused my life and my attention on creating the life that I want in this life while I'm alive. So I'm focusing more on and shifting my perception to living as long of a life as possible and improving the quality of my life. So if you take responsibility for the quality of your life and make it a life that you don't need a vacation from, a life that you don't need to commit suicide from, a life that you don't need to escape from. Take responsibility for your actions instead of selfishly wanting everything immediately like a toddler, like a microwave life. Then while you're shifting your perception, that might help you to overcome your suicidal depression. Life for me isn't all about me at 41 years old. My life is more serving those around me, and my life is making sure I'm a good leader. Sharing videos like this is making sure that I'm sharing the things that help me through dark places so that those behind me can learn uh, from my mistakes and my wins. So that is how I overcame suicidal depression. I had a massive perception shift, and the takeaway was uh, instead of expecting a microwave life and quick and easy answers and quick and easy outs, shift your perception to you're going to live a long time, and at the end of that long life, like everybody else, you're going to die. So there's no rush. And try not to be so selfish about your life. Focus more on helping others, on becoming a leader. Take responsibility for your actions and create a better quality of life for yourself and for your people so that you don't need to escape from your own life. Follow me on Twitter at adamjosh.com. I hope that helped you. That's how I did it. And again, you might have seen in my story there that I can't really pinpoint one exact turning point, although there was a couple turning points. That's my story. That's what happened. And I'm not on medication. I don't take pills. I've been in therapy when I was younger for many years in grade school, probably as far back as I can remember until high school. So I was in therapy for unrelated things, mostly related to my alcoholic biological parents. Saying all that, like I've spoken to people, spoken to therapists at length about my childhood issues, so I don't feel like personally like I need to continually go to therapy. When I was married, I went to a therapist for a while as well, which wasn't very productive. So I'm saying that because I'm not on medication, I'm not currently seeing a therapist, and I'm vegan, and I'm a pretty open book. You may not have known that about me, but hey, if it helps you, I hope it helps you. Take care. Follow me on Twitter, and have yourself a great day. And I hope that you take up this challenge of overcoming your depression. And maybe my story helped you. Bye-bye.